Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're actually going to start a new series. So we're going to be reviewing some new cards that EA have dropped, like the new promo What If. So today we're going to be reviewing our first ever player of the series, and it is no other than Roberto Pereyra. Overall, this card, I'd say for his price, he's definitely worth it. And then when you look at those stats, we'll get into a minute, but he overall looks like a good card. So for Xbox players, if you can snap him for under 90k, I feel like that's a win, because if you take a look at PC and PlayStation, PC especially, 130k, that is probably what he should be worth, but he keeps on dropping because it's always EA's thing. They the new cards, they always drop at first, so that's why sometimes when the new promo comes out, I wait a bit longer because I know it will drop in price. But those that want it quickly, they'll just get it quickly, and they'll end up losing like 30k profit. So say when it first came out on like the second day or something, he was like 145k or something, and people were just snapping up for that price. And if you're an Xbox player especially, because he's dropped by nearly 50k. So it's definitely one to think about. Maybe you should wait a bit longer. But if you just don't wanna wait and you just want him in your team because he's that cracked, then I understand. But usually what I would do is probably wait for the promo to drop. It's same goes for Headliners. Like Headliners Inc. at the start was 75k. Now he's 30k or something. So you can see there that the price keeps on dropping. So it's a matter of time where you just have to wait for the promo to drop in price. And that's where you can snap him up for cheap prices. So that's the issue with some players. But if you're one of those players that just want him quickly because you want to use him quickly and see how good he is, then I understand. I'm not stopping you. But if you're one that wants to wait to save a bit more money, then that's what I would probably recommend doing. Anyway, we've talked enough, so let's get into this. Pereyra overall, if you take a look at those stats, he can pretty much just play kind of anywhere. Yes, he's a very good cam looking at it. He can even play left wing good enough. But I'd say cam is probably the best position in a way. So if you were to whack a sniper on him, it would increase his shooting and physical, which I don't think. To be fair, before we go into all the chem styles, I'm gonna say this: he looks like a good DM defensive mid, because these stats are the main focus for defensive mids, but in those stats he actually does well. And if you do put a sniper on him, those stats look a bit better, because when you reset it, they're not the best. 85 stamina, okay. 80 strength's not the best, and 76 aggression. If you want him to be a DM, then up the aggression. That's all you need to up it. So sniper wouldn't be the best choice for him. A finisher, I would see lots of people recommend putting a finisher on him. But for those that want DM, we'll get to that in a minute. But for those that want him as like a main striker or winger or a cam or centre forward, because you can see here in finisher, he gets 92, 92, 92, 92. 92, 91, 91. So you see those stats, they're actually very good as a finisher. So if you want him as that type of player who runs forward, puts in good crosses, cuts inside, then I'd say finisher, or even not marksman, maybe potentially Deadeye would be the one for you. It's between finisher and Deadeye if you want him to go forward a bit more often. That's what I think. Well, defensive-wise, I don't know. An engine is what people would be talking about, but these stats, if you want him to be a solid DM, then obviously these stats matter. So lots of people would say engine for like an attacking cam, but I don't want him as attacking cam because I packed this guy in an 81 plus, and I kind of use him as a DM in-game. So you can kind of change that if you want. So then we go on to the defensive stats. So Shadow, It increases his pace, which is 99. That's good. But remember, these stats don't go up enough. Yes, the defending goes up a lot, but the physical is just not there. So I don't know if Shadow's the right choice for him. Maybe it would be a shout. Then we have Catalyst, which, I mean, they're already good enough stats for pace and passing, so I don't think we need a Catalyst. Hunter, attacking wise, is also good, so I'd probably put Hunter alongside Snipe, Finisher, and Deadeye. If you want him to be attacking, then Hunter and Finisher and Deadeye are probably the ones for you. Defensive wise, I'm not actually sure. Sentinel. To be fair, Sentinel would actually do bits, because 91 interceptions, that's a big plus, that. 85 heading accuracy. Remember, this guy's not the best at heading, but he's good enough. 68 defensive aware. On his original one, like, if you reset it, he's got 58. So, I mean, it kind of, Backbone kind of also does the trick. But Sentinel wouldn't be bad either. Standing tackle, 79. It's not the best, but it's good enough in a way. Sliding tackle, 86. That's not bad, actually. I would probably recommend a Sentinel when you look at that. Because if you want him to be a bit more defensive, because you can see here that he actually has got the stats to be a bit more defensive, but you need something like a defensive chem style if you want him to be defensive. So that's the issue. Guardian, it ups his dribbling. Now, dribbling's a good stat from Pereyra. He offers great dribbling. So, dribbling could be one for him. 97 is a lot plus. 98 balance, 97 ball control, 99 dribbling in game, 90 composure. That's actually, to be fair, Guardian would be a shout, but I want to show you guys the defensive way for him. So maybe Guardian would be a defensive way, but we already have good enough dribbling. 92 dribbling, I'll take it. It's good enough. But if you want him to be attacking, as I said before, Hunter, Finisher, Deadeye. Simple as that. They're probably the ones for attacking. Defensive, I don't know really. Gladiator, Backbone would do bits, but I think the one that really does stand out is Anchor. Yes, it's a defensive chem style, and I told you if you want him to be more defensive, I'd say Anchor is probably the best chem style for defensiveness. Because number one, it ups his pace. His pace is already good enough. It's 90, but you can up that pace a bit more to 95. So that wouldn't be too bad. Whereas the defending and physical is exactly what we needed. So actually, we could potentially put an Anchor on him. I'm not so sure about that, but it could be one to think about it. Because remember, if we want him as a DM, and as you can see there, if you put him as a CM or a DM, that actually gives him a not too bad rating. 85 at DM, 88 as CM. Because that just shows you how good, when you reset it, it shows he's got good stats there. So it probably would be one to put on him. Okay, so I think that's the last chemistry style. Yep, no others to recommend really. Again, Sentinel would be a shout, but I think best chem style for attacking, it's probably Deadeye, I'd say. I'd probably say Deadeye or Finisher, but if I were to choose one, looking at Finisher, it's not bad. But if you look at Deadeye, it's even better. So I'd probably say if you put a Deadeye on him, it'd be a bit better. So for attacking, we choose Deadeye. And for defensive, I'd probably say Anchor. Because remember, DM, we want him to be a solid enough DM. And those stats, they're incredible when you put an Anchor on him. So maybe Anchor might be the best chem style for defensive. But I would also give Backbone as a shout. He's got good pass. He ups his passing a lot. Defensiveness, it goes by a +7. Physical, it goes by a +5. So it wouldn't be too bad. Obviously, when you put Backbone, he gets like good stats at like Cam and CM and etc. So maybe out of Anchor and Deadeye, both of them are good, but again, attacking wise Deadeye, defensive wise Anchor. So that is my review, and before we go, I would like to explain a bit more about this Pereyra. So last but not least, if you're on PlayStation, snap him up for less than 100k, because PlayStation, I'm not so sure if the price usually goes up, because I'm not on a PlayStation, but if anyone knows, please tell me in the comments, because usually PlayStation price does go up, whereas Xbox, it always decreases. It takes a while for it to go up, while PC, I don't know what to say about PC. I feel bad for those who are on PC, because the prices for some players on PC is just incredible, literally. 128k on PC. That is probably how much he's worth, I'm guessing. Because looking at those stats, when you put an Anchor on him, come on, he's probably worth more than 300k if you put an Anchor on him. But it's definitely a shout, Pereyra. I'd say he's probably one of the best what-ifs. But if you look at all the what-ifs, let's see. So we've got Fair, the new SBC. We've got Mbabu, Lise Malou, Marcelo, Pereyra, obviously, which we just talked about. You've got Jovic, you've got Smalling, you've got Berchichi, and etc. So yeah, now I'm just going to go over the tactics for him. So as you can see here in this little squad, so 185, this is actually my team if I were to pack Pereyra, because I did pack him. So if your team's maybe something like this, if you pack Pereyra and you don't have anyone to give him a link, I'd say go for DePaul. The reason being is because DePaul is actually a very good player. Now, if we take a look at his stats, let's just go on to DePaul's stats. You can see here, 83 pace, 83 shooting, 87 pass, 89 dribbling, 62 defending, 74 physical. Now, if you were to whack a shadow on him, it increases his defending and pace. That means he can play CM, very good, and Cam, just as better. So if you wanted him to be a bit more defensive in the custom tactics, so let's just go into Squad Builder so we can show you. So I'll just reload the team. Ings. Then we got Sterling. Then we got Pereyra. Then we got Gundo, aka Mr. Whippy, if you know that. Grealish. And then DePaul. So if you were to whack a shadow on him, I'd say it's probably best for defensive, even though his defensive stats aren't the best. It's good enough, I'd say. Probably okay. Then we got Theo Hernandez, who actually his 80 rated card I chose because really, I just wanted the cheapness in there. Plus, he's kind of like Ferland Mendy, but I don't like to use Ferland Mendy that much. So I want to go a bit old style and go for someone who's a bit lower rated than him, but he's quite similar, because when you look at Ferland Mendy stats, obviously Hernandez has not got 5-star weak foot, but Mendy has, but Hernandez is kind of similar to Mendy, apart from the skill moves and weak foot. So I would say, if you don't want Mendy in your team, maybe Hernandez is the suitable option for you. I'd recommend that, really. Smeedo. Now we go into custom tactics. Now for this, I would say a 4-4-2. I'm not the best at custom tactics, but maybe if you want Pereyra as a DM, because you can see here, no one's got as good stats as Pereyra for DM in the midfield. Obviously, Grealish is not made for DM. Gundogan can play DM. DePaul can definitely play DM if you just like put chem style on him, like Shadow, or probably actually we could put Backbone on him. Wait, let's just go back here. Check Backbone out. Actually, Backbone might be the one for him. Obviously, those stats, they're not good enough, I feel. But if you put Backbone on him, he can become a bit more of a DM. But if you put Anchor on him, yeah, I feel Anchor is probably better. Even though DM-wise it's 80 rated. 82. I don't know. If you want, you can. It's a choice between Backbone and Anchor. But if you want him to be DM, probably Backbone. If you want him to be a bit more attacking, even though you want him to be a bit defensive at the same time, maybe Anchor could be right. Anyway, then we go back into custom tactics for the team. So this is currently my team right now, but I'm just showcasing it so you can see what probably is best for Pereyra. So as you can see here, wait, I'm just going to get this up to full chem. Just by putting loyalty increases their chem by 1. I don't get why they need loyalty anyway. Things. Sterling. And then I just have Bielsa as my manager. If you're struggling to get chem, and you have like say DePaul and if you have DePaul and Pereyra, then maybe get Bielsa because he'll give that link to DePaul and Pereyra, but at the same time, if you put Serie A on him, if you're struggling for chemistry, obviously, he'll get you 100 because he gets that link to Pereyra and DePaul, which is quite not exactly needed, but it would be nice if you want full chem. So then let's go into custom tactics and go for to be fair, a 3-5-2 would also work, but first I'm gonna try the 4-2-4. If it loads up. The 4-2-4 is a bit defensive, but we obviously want 4-4-2 at the same time. So let's go for the 4-4-2. And if you were to do this, I'd say this would work. Grealish at right mid, he can do that. He can play right mid, definitely. And you can have Pereyra at right mid instead, maybe. Because Grealish is very used to playing on the left and cutting in most times. So maybe Grealish, you could try something like this with Sterling at left striker. It would work because his pace, if you have like a slow striker, and if you have Sterling, who has 93 pace, he'll probably help out Danny Ings a lot. Or whatever striker that has a bit low pace. So then we've got 4-4-2, obviously. The other formation in game could be 3-5-2 actually. With Pereyra left DM, we could have Danny Ings up top. Gundogan at right mid. I don't know if that would work, but if again, this is for defensive wise, but if you want him attacking wise, then do this probably. Just switch switch Sterling and Pereyra around and then switch Gundo with Sterling. Again, yes, the chem's not the best, but this is for in-game. So Sterling can play good on the right. DePaul, remember, when you whack a shadow on him, he'll be a bit more defensive. Same with Gundogan. When you whack a shadow, it increases pace, defending and physical. So, yeah. And then for the defense, it's good enough. Theo Hernandez at left mid. I rate it, actually. He's actually okay at that position. And Pereyra at left striker. It kind of gives you the balance because 90 pace, 92 pace, 93 pace, 84 pace. Obviously, if you had a more pacey striker, it would help a lot. But Pereyra at left striker would not be a bad option. So 3-5-2 would also be a shout. Is there any other formations you could try? Well, you can try this actually. What if it loads? Yeah, you can actually try something like this. I don't know if it would work, but kinda good chem enough. It's enough chem. Grealish at right mid. It's good enough, but it's not the best. Maybe him at left mid and Hernandez at right wing back or left wing back. Not the best. So I'd probably keep it like this. Or maybe the 3-5-2 might not, the 3-4-2 one might not be the one for you. Neither the 3-5-2, but if those aren't good enough for you, then maybe would the 4-3-2-1 work? Potentially the 4-3-1-2 would work because Pereyra can play DM good enough. In a way, this formation actually works because if you take a look at it, Pereyra can play Cam, DePaul can be a bit more defensive in there, or if you want Gundogan, who's better defensively, you can do that. And then, oh wait, no, Guedes can't play CDM, like proper CDM, where Gundo has to help out Varane and Stones. So you could do something like this. I heavily rate it. It's a good team if you do something like this, maybe, like Pereyra at Cam, as you saw here. If we just get Pereyra loaded up. So if we just load him up, and then if we put like an attacking cam style on him, we don't even need a cam style, because if you look at that, Cam, 89 rated. He becomes 89 rated. Obviously, before we go, I will tell you that he will get a boost if he gets 6 goals in his next 5 games. So we have to hope for that. And for those that have this card, use him. He's actually a beast. I've tried him a couple of games in FIFA because I packed him. He's actually not bad. He's not the greatest left wing. Like, he probably would play better at Cam or CDM when you put that defensive cam style on him. But apart from that, I would say he's a good player. Definitely. Out of 10, my rating, probably an 8.5. Because the only issue is that if EA gave him a bit more defensive awareness, because that defensive awareness is just not enough for a DM, probably. But in a way, it's good enough because obviously he's a winger in real life, but he can play DM, so that's definitely a shout. And the best stat, before we go, obviously, the best stat now is probably dribbling, obviously, but pace is also good. So that's why I would recommend doing Pereyra, like not as SBC, but buying him if you haven't. So that is all I have for today, and I will see you in the next review. Also, tell me in the comments if you want to see more of these player reviews. Tomorrow we will be doing another What If player review, and you can guess, it's from Switzerland. So, adios, and I'll see you next time.